Welcome back, everybody. We're going to do a tomato review today on this tomato right here, and this is called the Strawberry Tiger. Unfortunately, this year I didn't do very good with it. The plant kind of died out early, but I did manage to get some tomatoes off it. So I will grow it again next year, and we'll give it a better review. But unfortunately, I don't have enough tomatoes. I don't think I'm even going to be able to offer seed for this. But if I get some, maybe I'll offer a few offers. But this is a very interesting tomato. It's basically a small cherry tomato that's shaped like a oxheart tomato, something like that. It's a little small oxheart, which is unusual for a tomato this size. And it gets this pink color. Not sure if my camera picks it up. And it gets this pink color with a slight orange tone to it and a lot of striping in it. And you can see there's some gold stripes on the top, shaped like a little heart. Shaped like, it looks just like a strawberry. It's why they called it a strawberry tiger. It's a strawberry. It looks just like a strawberry when it's on the plant. You get the calyx just dried up on it, but if you leave the calyx on them, boy, they're really beautiful looking. You can see they look really, really nice. They generally don't get too much bigger than what you see right here. I've probably got a couple dozen of them off of there, but they're still green. Like this, couple of these fell on the ground. So I wanted to show you the pattern on them like this when they're in the green stage. You can see even small and green, they're heavily patterned. Very beautiful tomato. Really like this looks of this tomato a lot. You can see it's very dark shoulders. I'm going to pursue this one. I believe it's a dwarf variety, and that's part of the reason why it died is because I planted it next to a lot of the bigger varieties, not knowing this was a dwarf, because when I got the seeds, I didn't know it was dwarf. Because I tried to keep all the dwarf to the outside of the grow area, you know, the main grow area, and I didn't know it was a dwarf, so it got stuck in the back and got shaded out, basically. So let's put you on a scale and try to give you an idea what they weigh. They're not going to weigh very much, but we'll show you what the weights are anyway, just to give you an idea, so you don't think it's a huge tomato. Because when I go up really close like that, you know, if I put that on a piece of paper, you wouldn't know the size of the tomato. So I want you to know it's basically a cherry tomato, but an oxheart shaped cherry tomato. Okay, so that's 0.04 of an ounce. That one, this one here is probably 0.3, and this one here again, 0.3. Okay, just to give you an idea of the weight. So there's no confusion when you buy the seeds. You're not like, oh, I thought that was a big giant oxheart tomato and da-da-da-da and all this stuff. And yeah, okay. I try to be as transparent as I can. All right, we'll cut this one open first, and we'll do a taste test with this. Show you the inside of it too real quick. This is what it looks like on the inside. Nice little bichambered. It's not totally ripe in the middle. I think a lot of these fell on the ground that you're looking at, and I let them ripen on the table. But there's still some on the plant, but the plant's pretty much going to die. These take a long time to ripen too, by the way. I noticed that. They don't ripen right away. Okay, so this one's pretty good, guys. This is a 7 on the brick scale. There's a lot of sweetness in this one. Just hoping it's not too sweet, but it's saying 7 on the brick, so this one's pretty high. Let's give that a go. Okay, start with the sweetness. The sweetness was pretty good. I'm going to put the sweetness up there around the 28, 29 range. It was pretty high, but not overly sweet. It had a nice milding effect on the whole flavor profile of the tomato. It had a nice blending effect. That the sweetness wasn't really contrasted, like it was very awkwardly sweet. It wasn't nothing like that. It was sweet, and it went really well with the tangy, but I was still able to taste the sweetness all the way through the whole taste test part, you know, from the beginning to the end. And even now, in the back of my tongue, I could still kind of taste a little bit of that sweetness. So the sweetness was just about perfect on that. So we're going to go between 28 and 30 on the sweetness, somewhere in that range. It was right in that sweet spot. That's where you want to be with that. Tangy was about the same, was a little higher. We'll probably say tangy was about 33. So the balance of sweet and tangy were right at a good balance, just a little above average. Tomato flavor was actually quite interesting. It had a very nice, inviting type of tomato flavor. It was just a strange flavor, kind of, it was like eating a berry, but it was tomato flavor, and it comes and goes. You really got to eat a bunch of these to really grasp the full flavor of this tomato. It's one or two is it's just not enough. I need to eat like a half dozen for me to really grasp that. But from what I did grab, the tomato flavor was pretty prominent in this variety. I'm going to say it's a 7.5 on the tomato flavor. Again, when we talk about tomato flavor, we're talking about how strong was that flavor in the whole profile of the tomato thing. It was pretty prominent. We're not talking about how good it tasted. We're talking about, in general, how strong was that flavor. And sometimes that has a lot to do with the undertones as well as the type of flavor it is. Sometimes the flavor is a very prominent flavor, and that could cause it to be a higher prominence. But in general, just to say how prevalent was that flavor in there, I'm going to say from a 1 to 10, we'll probably say that was about a 7 on the scale. So it was a pretty good above average. It was definitely going up in there. Now, as far as moisture goes, it wasn't terribly moist. I'll probably put it at a 4.5, with 10 being the highest. So it's a little bit below the average on the moisture. But that might just simply be because I've been letting these tomatoes ripen on my table. So they might be a little lower in moisture. They weren't dry, but they could have used a little bit more moisture. So I'm just going to put it at just a digit below 5, go 4.5 with that. Maybe next year we can probably get that up into the 6 zone, which is where you want to be with the moisture. Tardy or sour, there was a slight tardiness to it. And you could tell because the very back of your tongue between your jawbone, when that area starts to feel like it's, I can't describe the effect you get if you get lemon, let that lemon seep to that area of your jaw. And you'll get that little sort of weird feeling in the back of that area. That is what I'm referring to when I'm talking about tardy and or sour. Not often talking about sour, but that tardy effect will cause that effect to the back of your jawbone over there. So there was a little bit of something on that, but very, very slightly, maybe a 0.5 on there. It was too small of a tomato for me to really, grab a strong sense of a tardiness, but there was something, and it was nice. It went with the tomato flavor pretty nicely. No undertones really. I don't think I detected anything. I don't remember offhand, but I don't remember tasting any undertones with it. Texture was okay. It was a little bit on the grainy side. Wasn't too pleased with that, but again, it could be that the tomatoes are ripening on the table, so maybe they got a little grainy. But yeah, they were a little bit on the grainy side, so I'm probably going to go with a 4.5 on the texture. I wish it would have been a little bit more sweeter and more delectable, but it was a little bit on the grainy side. Skins broke up nice, so that's a plus. But that grainy effect, I don't really care for it, and chalky effect. But that's not going to really interfere with the way I'm going to rate this tomato, because the flavor of the tomato, in contrast with that sweet and tangy, was amazing. It really was, guys. That really had that by itself is going to give this a high number, because I don't normally get that feel or effect from tomatoes quite like I'm getting from this. This was a very interesting tasting tomato. As far as production goes, it was really terrible this year, and that might be because the plant died early. So unfortunately, I can't even really give it a production number, but it doesn't look like it's a heavy producer because the plant is a small plant. I don't even know if it's a dwarf. It's just a small growing tomato plant. And so maybe the production is going to be kind of low. But I'm not going to give the production a number because I can't really fairly give it it died early, and there's still some tomatoes on there, but it did die early, and I can't really give you an honest number on the production. So we'll have to leave that out until next year. We'll grow this again next year, and we'll really focus on this tomato a little more. So how would I rate this tomato from a 1 to 10, 1 being the highest? I would definitely put this thing at about a 2.5. And that's mainly because the sweet and the tangy were well balanced. That tomato flavor, the flavor itself, not the strength of how strong and dominant it was, but I mean the flavor itself of that tomato. The actual flavor had a really strange kind of an effect, a strange kind of a tomatoey effect. in my mouth. It was really nice. It was actually very pleasant. It almost tasted like a little like strawberry. Almost had that kind of an effect, just less sweetness, of course. Strawberries are very sweet. But that was a really nice flavor in contrast with the sweet and the tangy. It really went well nice. We just need to pick that moisture up a little bit. And we got to see what the production is, unfortunately. And as long as if we pick the moisture up, I think that chalkiness and that graininess, that'll probably disappear, and you'll probably get a really nice tomato. It's just right now that's kind of low, and it would be unfair for me to rate this any lower than a 2.5. So I would definitely rate this tomato at 2.5 this year. We will bring that number up next year, hopefully, with good soil, grow it out. We'll see where we can take this tomato. But anyway, that's it for now with the tomato review on this. What I'll do is I'll leave any information I get on this tomato. I'll put it in the description below. I'll also put it on my website, and be sure to always check the website, because if I do any updating on the descriptions at all, it's always going to be on the website and not really on the YouTube channel. So if you're on a YouTube video, check the website for the latest information. You'll also find the link below that will bring you to that page, and you can buy seeds and you can read about it on hrseeds.com. All right, so that's it. That was your tomato review on the strawberry tiger tomato. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.